Alright YouTube, so for this vlog I'll be reviewing the movie The End of Oak Street. Spoiler-free review as usual, but will be some details towards major events in the movie, but won't go into full throttle detail because of course I want it to be mostly spoiler-free. So I'll start off and say I really like this movie, and there are a lot of dinosaurs in the movie, but something that I really liked about this movie is how the dinosaurs looked so much more, I don't know how to say, but realistic, I guess, but also detailed. Whereas I feel in the boring Jurassic World movies that they're just too, I don't know, perfect looking, or they don't really look like how dinosaurs would probably have looked like when they were around, and sort of gave me this vibe of sort of realistic Pokemon style artwork that I've seen in old digital arts, which definitely was very happy for me. And I also liked how there were dinosaurs, we didn't see too much of them, but we saw just enough to, as I mentioned, get a good look of them and see how well designed they were, but not to the point where it was just okay, enough dinosaur action. And also there were very few T-Rexes, which is definitely good because, yeah, Jurassic World movies have kind of milked the T-Rexes, but still good to include them in this movie. And there's also this other creature that's really cool. It's sort of this huge snake worm, not really quite like a dune worm in the Dune series, but it looked like it had funny, it had a normal looking face like a Pokemon. And then what's fascinating is when we see its mouth open and all these crazy tongues and spiky teeth. So it was definitely interesting to see that little beast as well. So circling back, I'll go into now a little more of the plot details. The movie is definitely a thriller survival movie, not quite a horror movie, but somewhat elements, a few mild jump scares. I honestly do not like jump scares. I think they're just blech, but in this case the few definitely worked, and it's definitely got a really cool cast. I know the two young actors and actresses. There's one I know who's one of the neighbors. I haven't seen the actress who portrays that character in any other films, but she's a private school student and has only ever been to private school, which the kids in the neighborhood find interesting, but it's not a major detail. It's just sort of some of those things that tie it together. And we also see the character Brian, who is Greg, and I already forgot Denise, his son, and Denise is Anne Hathaway's character, and Greg is Ewan McGregor's character. So they're definitely really cool because I really like both of them, and they also had interesting arcs. But circling back, the son Brian is really cool. He has a bow and arrow and plays with the kids in the neighborhood, but he gets into a bit of a conflict where one of the older kids is out to get him, and they get ambushed in the bikes. And yeah, then we also see the neighborhood transport to a different time, and the movie takes place in the 80s, I believe, which is definitely really interesting and cool to see the house style as well as all these interesting things from the 80s, but especially dinosaurs come back. So circling back, we also see Audrey, who is Greg and Denise's daughter and Brian's sister. So her character is also very interesting. I think she's his older sister and definitely has an interesting character arc, although I feel we mostly got her vibe and didn't get too much from about her school experience, unlike the neighbor and Brian. So it's cool, but we also saw how well she was with the family, especially with her brother and her parents, which each of these characters are going through their own sort of separate struggles and difficult times, and the survival has brought them together. And going into one of these minor spoilers, but I won't say exactly what happened, but sort of ended, or there was a major thing that was shocking to me that happened in the movie. And I think it was sort of a character's death. I'm not going to say who it was, but let's put it this way, it definitely will caught me off guard, but I was also happy about it because it was totally unpredictable. And then the movie ends in an interesting way, sort of an open end, but nothing too specific. So overall, I think this movie was really cool. I'm glad to see it doing so far so good, even though it's been out a day. And something I do want to mention is I have seen some headlines saying the movie may be a sort of testing point for Warner Brothers, but to be honest, I'm not 100% sure all the projects and companies Warner Brothers has in the movie industry, but I'll definitely want to check that out because probably more than I realize are in Warner Brothers, and some are other big companies. But besides the point, the movie definitely had a cool cast and not so many characters. Overall, a great fun movie for the night. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more vlogs soon. Goodbye.